Hello everyone, welcome to our information extraction class. In today's first unit, we will talk about information extraction and text analytics and start with a brief introduction to information extraction. So the roadmap for this unit will be as follows. So first we will discuss some case studies and motivating applications for information extraction. We will then list a few of the representative information extraction tasks, and this list is by no means exhaustive. And then we will discuss some of the challenges and requirements for information extraction. But first of all, what is information extraction? So the task of information extraction is to take unstructured text or semi-structured text such as HTML, for example, and distill structured information out of this text such that it can be processed by applications. So if we look at an example here on the left, we have an example news report that talks about CEOs of corporations. And if we were to turn this text into something that can be processed by an application, we need to get some sort of structured data out of this text. So for example, an example of structured information from here would be a table that lists the names of people, the title, and the organization that they are part of. For example, Bill Gates has a title of CEO in the organization Microsoft. Okay, so without turning the unstructured text into some structured information, it is impossible to leverage all of this information that is hidden in the text. So next we will discuss a couple of case studies that involve information extraction. So for the case study, for the first case study, we will discuss a large retail bank that spends a number of billions on an advertising campaign, and the retail bank would like to understand how effective was that campaign. For the second use case, we are looking at a large IT infrastructure company that they are penalized whenever they violate their service agreement. So what this company would like to understand is when exactly do they violate their service agreements, what are the sequence of events that lead to such a violation, and how they can prevent this in the future. So in the first case study, remember we're talking about a retail bank that would like to understand the effect of their advertisement campaign on the population. So for this particular company, we are looking at social media. So the company wants to analyze social media such as Twitter or Facebook to understand how the campaign is viewed by people. So the first step that one needs to do is to perform information extraction on the social media messages. For example, in the case of Twitter, we really want to dig deep into those 140 bytes of information and understand all of the information that we could extract from there. For example, we would like to understand not only the sentiment that people express towards the particular bank, but whether the sentiment refers to the advertisement campaign of the bank or about some other aspect of the bank like customer service. And we would also like to understand who are these customers, right? So on social media, we have a number of personas, right? But we would like to link these personas with the customer catalog of customers. For this, we need to perform even deeper analysis on the text to understand, for example, different demographics about the people. Where are they located? What is their age group? And so on. And integrate that information with the product catalog of the company. So once this information extraction happens and integration with the customer catalog of the company, what we end up with is a set of profiles for people where information about the person is integrated across the company's client catalog with extra information gathered from social media, such as, for example, what are their interests of the person, what are their hobbies, any life events, personal attributes, demographic attributes, and of course the sentiment towards the retail bank and whether any sentiment referred to the advertisement campaign. So once this information has been extracted, then the company can do statistical analysis and understand correlations between different segments of the population with sentiments towards the campaign and so on and so forth. And they can even use this information for other applications, for example, lead generation. Are there people who are planning to move out of the area or into a particular area so that they can be appropriate customers for the bank and so on. So in this case here, there are multiple challenges that are encountered in this use case. First, it is the scale of the data. So every day there are 450 or even 500 million tweets every day. The breadth of the extraction task. So not only do we have to understand the sentiment for the retail bank and a particular aspect of the retail bank, but also we want to extract other kinds of attributes about the person, for example, their personal attributes, what products do they like, do they intend to buy those products, and so on and so forth. So there's a large breadth of information extraction tasks. And finally, the complexity of the task, it's driven by the fact that social media data is fairly noisy as opposed to clean formal English text that you would encounter in more classical use cases. And people often express sarcasm or wishful thinking that needs to be distinguished from normal ways of expressing. All right, in our second case study, we are looking at a large information technology company that is looking to understand when and why do they violate the service agreement, and how can they prevent that from happening. So a typical website is built using a multi-tier architecture consisting of web servers, application servers, and transaction processing monitors and databases. Each of these components produces its own logs, and if an error shows up, we will need to identify the sequence of events that led to the error. So in order for this to happen, we would use a pipeline that looks something like that. From the raw logs, we first parse the logs and identify individual log records. We then extract relevant information from these log records and integrate that or link that information with information that performance data that tells us when a particular key performance indicator has surpassed or went outside the boundaries in the service license agreement. So once we have this information, then we can perform correlation analysis to see the sequence of events that led to SLA violation, and also build graphical models that will be able to detect anomalies in the future before they happen. So one of the challenges in this use case is that every customer and every infrastructure company would have their own components with their unique log records. In such a case, one would need to quickly customize all the stages of the analytics to these custom log data sources. Of course, we don't want to build this application from scratch for each and every customer, so we need to build it once and then be able to customize it at deployment time.